Hey guys, how you all doing? Welcome back to another video. Both tournaments have now reached the semi-final stage as all four sides have got to earn their golden tickets by winning to get into the final. However, only two sides can progress through while the other two losing sides would have to pack their bags and return home. Also, Bet365 only care about the full-time scores. So if any of these matches ends in a draw after 90 minutes, that's it. So for example, if you predicted your team to win 4-3 and the match itself ended 3-3 at full time, but your team then ended up winning 4-3 in extra time, that's irrelevant, doesn't count. So yeah, 50k is still up for grabs, let's get it. Spain versus France. Spain qualified for the semi-final after beating Germany 2-1 in extra time thanks to a very late Moreno goal. As for France, they beat Portugal 5-3 on penalties, which ended goalless in 120 minutes. If that game had ended 5-3 at full time or extra time, that would have been thrilling. However, that wasn't really the case. Spain got the job done against Germany. You could argue that the better team lost, as Germany did create more chances, kept more possession. But it was a thrilling game. You know, both teams went head to head with each other, toe to toe, and it was a very entertaining game to watch. I did see most of it, but I was also editing my previous video at the same time. So, yeah, no, I think, you know, Spain, they had some dirty antics up their sleeves, but that's what got them through over the line. They played some good possession, counter-attacking football. To knock out the host nation in a major tournament, they made a massive statement doing that, so fair play. Even though Dani Carvajal got sent off literally just after Spain scored, he's now suspended for their semi-final. They managed to hold on for the win. And yeah, like I just said, it was a very entertaining game to watch. So, but as for France, I've been not impressed with them going forward whatsoever. To not score against a Portugal side that played 120 minutes against Slovenia in the round of 16, very poor. You would think that same Portugal defence who started against France and played the full 90, you would think that fatigue kicked in at some point, especially in the second half. But the thing is, the fact that France have only scored 3 goals, yet none have come from open play. Oh yeah, that's right, 2 own goals and a penalty. To have then reached the semi-final, I think the standards of this competition has dropped. Mbappe, Griezmann, Dembele, Thuram, Colomouani, they've been absolutely disgraceful going forward in this tournament. Nowhere near good enough. And they're in the semi-finals. They've got to at least try score against this Spain defence, who, they fell behind against Georgia, conceded late on against Germany, but I have a feeling that this France attack will not cause Spain's defence any problems whatsoever. Spain's defence, they could just sit back, chill, and yet Mbappe and co will not do a thing. They will not cook that Spain's defence. However, France's defence have been solid, so I've got nothing against that. Which is where I also feel that Spain's attack will find it hard to break through the likes of Saliba, Upamecano, Koundé at right back, Theo Hernandez, even N'Golo Kante protecting the back four in CDM, who by the way has had a decent tournament. So the way I see it right now is that France will not score against this Spain defence, but also Spain's attack will find it hard against that French defence. I'm going goalless. Argentina versus Canada. You know what's a coincidence? Both sides already played each other in the group stage. Argentina won that game 2-0. So Argentina qualified for the semi-final, having beat Ecuador 4-2 on penalties after a 1-1 draw. As for Canada, they also progressed through on penalties after another 1-1 draw against Venezuela, which I got exactly right. Yeah, so, man, I mean, Argentina, where do I start? Because they're obviously still favourites to win the tournament, but that result against Ecuador, that doesn't convince me. They took the lead in the first half and they were very unlucky to concede in literally the 92nd minute in the second half. So, but yeah, they got the job done on penalties and that's all they could do at that moment. As for Canada, yeah, they took the lead in the first half but then conceded in the second half. And by the way, I haven't watched any Copa America games as they've been very late over here in the UK. So I can only judge these teams based on their results at the moment. So yeah, I think Canada, I believe this is their first ever Copa America as well. So to get to the semi-final, fair play. I mean, that's brilliant from them, and they can build on that. They can try and build on that momentum. But for me, I still see Argentina win this game because again, like Messi hasn't really hit the heights yet. He hasn't scored. He missed that Panenka pen against Ecuador in the shootout, and yeah, I mean, the other players have got to step up because I think Messi, I think for me he's still the best player of all time, but he's dropped down a bit now, and I think it's kind of time for him, not now, but I'm thinking after Copa America, for him to just step aside from the national team and let the younger players come through and let them take their opportunities. But yeah, coming back to this game, yeah, I'm going for 2-0 Argentina. Netherlands versus England. So Holland made it through to the semi-final after beating Turkey 2-1 in normal time, not extra time. As for England, they beat Switzerland 5-3 on penalties after a 1-1 draw at full time and extra time, which was a very long 120 minutes to watch, by the way. Yeah, for the Netherlands, they played quite well against Turkey. I saw most of the second half. To be fair, Turkey did give them a good run for their money, having took the lead. But then Holland eventually came back from behind to win, which is the main thing for them. Cody Gakpo on that left-hand side, he caused their fullback a number of problems. He's got the full package. He's got the pace, the strength, great dribbling ability, and if he continues that good form, he'll cause England some problems. However, as for England, firstly, don't get me wrong, I'm happy they're through to the semi-final, plus they're still unbeaten, which is great. And after all, this is tournament football, so no matter how ugly it gets, if we somehow progress to the final and actually win the tournament, that's all England fans care about at this stage. After all, results matters more than performances, but at the same time, I have to be realistic about our chances of beating the Netherlands. So where do I start? I watched the full game. It wasn't the worst performance, yet it wasn't that great either. Something is clearly wrong in this team. Like the chemistry, the charisma, the link up, something's not clicking. You know, I've watched every England game so far, and I've seen with my own eyes how average we have been going forward. Do you know what's crazy though? I can't believe I'm saying this, but we've been much better going forward than France. Despite playing slow, passive, sideways, backwards football, we have been better going forward than France, which is insane to say. Yeah, I think, you know, Southgate has got to make some big decisions. For me, Harry Kane needs to be dropped. And yes, I know he's England captain, but that doesn't make him immune to being dropped. you know, so far in this tournament, he's been physically shot. He's been constantly outpaced, outstrengthed. His fatigue and tiredness has affected his quality on the pitch. And yes, he could hugely benefit playing alongside someone else with him up front to link up with. However, Southgate clearly does not play with two forwards up front. He went with a back three and two cams against Switzerland. He played Bellingham and Foden as the 10 behind Kane, which again did not work. Foden and Bellingham clearly cannot play together in the number 10. They just don't link up well together. Foden for me had a very quiet game, and it's no coincidence that when England scored, he was already off the pitch. So for me, he also needs to be dropped. Bellingham, the only thing he did all game was that weak left-footed shot, which the keeper comfortably saved. Saka, great goal from him. You know, he cut inside on his left and scored. His shot hit the bottom left post, which went into the corner. But yeah, it's still the common pattern is that we still play backwards, sideways. There's no urgency to press. There's no urgency to win the ball. Like what annoys me about Southgate is that he made his first change after falling behind. And from that moment, England then started to liven up going forward. Man, I mean, look, I'll get straight to the point. The fact that we didn't score until the 80th minute against Switzerland. By the way, with all due respect to them and Slovakia, we should have beaten them both after 90 minutes. Like, those games should not have gone into extra time with the quality that we have. But again, this is controversial for me to say, but these players have been brainwashed by Southgate's negative tactics. Like, we can all see it. But, you know, at the same time, I back the players more than the manager. I do not rate Southgate not one bit as a manager. But at the same time, the players are the ones on the pitch performing, so they've all got to take responsibility as well. But hey, we're through to the semi-final, which is fine. So again, like, to an extent, we need to back the players and the manager and just hope for the best. But for me, Holland will find it very tough. We will find it tough against the Netherlands. So again, I just have a feeling that Virgil van Dijk and Stefan de Vrij, they will keep Harry Kane quiet. That's if he does start. However, I would like to see Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins start up front together, as they do offer the pace to break at them. But you know, hey, I'm not the manager, am I? So that's all down to Southgate. So we'll just have to see how we get on. Also, I'm going out to London again to watch the game. So we're going to this fan zone. It's the same place I went to against Denmark. So hopefully the atmosphere should be buzzing. And I want to see vibes. I'm there more for the vibes. But to be realistic, I just think, I think we'll struggle against Holland. But I'm not going to rule them out, because I think this game will go into extra time again. I've got a feeling about this. I think defensively we could handle them, but we just need to be aware of Cody Gakpo, Steven Bergwijn, Memphis Depay. They're the main three to look out for. Xavi Simons, we need to keep an eye on them and keep them quiet. So, yeah. Call me boring, but I'm being realistic. Goalless. But hopefully, in extra time, England win. If not, if it goes to penalties, then so be it. As long as we get the job done on penalties, which, by the way, we have the personnel to do so, then so be it. Colombia versus Uruguay. So Colombia made it through to the semi-final after smashing Panama 5-0 in the quarter-final. One thing for sure is they know exactly how to find the back of the net, unlike France. As for Uruguay, they beat Brazil 4-2 on penalties, which ended goalless after 90 minutes. Talking about Colombia first, they went into half-time 3-0 up, in which that point the game was already wrapped up. Yeah, they did score 2 late goals in the second half, but let's be real, they went into literally 5th gear into the first half and then eventually took the handbrake off and went back into 1st gear during the second half. Yeah, a very convincing win for them. As for Uruguay, yeah, they kept Brazil at bay, although they did fail to score after 90 minutes. Brazil, for me, have been very underwhelming in this tournament. They only picked up 1 win in 4 games. And yes, Brazil technically were unbeaten before the penalty shootout, but they did lose eventually in the end. Like, no wonder Ronaldinho said before the tournament that he will not bother watching them play. And maybe he was right about them after all. He said that they don't play with the same freedom, with the same passion, the personality, just it didn't click for them in this tournament. And again, I had Brazil as favourites to win that tournament. I even had them to top that group. Yet Colombia did exactly that. And again, fair play to them. But Brazil, nowhere near good enough for their standards. And Ronaldinho again was right. So when a national icon, a legend of his status, of the country, when he says that about the new generation of players, that's got to hurt. I don't know if the players actually heard what he said, but if that was the case, they must have felt affected by that. But they also had a point to prove by proving him wrong. You know, they just didn't do that. So anyway, so again, coming back to this game, okay, yeah, I think this could be a game where it could get feisty, if I'm honest with you. There could be challenges, bookings. This is a semi-final stage, so expect that from both sides. I feel like this could be even. I don't think Colombia will have the same effect going forward. I think Uruguay should keep this Colombia attack at bay. However, that convincing win over Panama has given them a boost of confidence going forward. And yeah, as for Uruguay, I feel like they could find a weakness in this Colombia defence somehow. So I feel like the thing is, maybe Panama didn't threaten Colombia enough, so their defence were probably more used to just chilling at the back with not much to do. But they cannot afford to do that against Uruguay. You've got Darwin Nunez, you've got Luis Suarez to an extent, but again, given his age, he won't start and play the full 90. He might come on at some point. He'll most likely be brought on at some point in the second half. Colombia, to be honest with you, I don't really know much of their players that well. And again, I can only judge them based on their performance against Panama. But yeah, this should be an exciting game to watch. 1-1. So yeah, as I already mentioned before, I did get 2 correct scores, which was good, but still wasn't enough to win that 50k jackpot. However, I did get 10 free spins for doing so. So basically, all I've got to do is play any online game on Bet365 and spin that fortune wheel 10 times. And yeah, just hope for the best. Try win much money as possible from those 10 free spins. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks guys for watching. Feel free to comment your predictions down below. And yeah, take care. See you soon.